So you can't have a soul that is animated by the spark of life, the Holy Spirit, and therefore you have a mind that's independent of the matter, right? So therefore your thoughts are deterministic. They're just molecules banging together and you have these random thoughts, right? So because free will is miraculous, therefore you cannot have free will. And this is, your thoughts on that, Thaddeus?
Oh, yeah, well, I mean, you can't blame him too much, right? He doesn't have any free will. So whatever he's saying, he was just determined to say that. So you can't fault him.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
he was just predetermined to believe that indeterminism.
Yeah, so he thought that humans are not creative agents with the ability to make real choices and shape their own personality. We're just meat robots, and they can make us operate like machines, right? And like Marxism here, his focus is on intentions, not outcomes. And philosophically, this is exactly like Islam's concept of niyat, of intention. The intention is there. They're not necessarily the outcomes.
It,
Yeah,
it is a very interesting contradiction, though. To claim that people don't have free will and that they can be programmed, and then say, therefore, we need to program them the way we want. Doesn't that mean that you are having the free will to program them in the first place?
yeah, yeah. It's crazy. So now notice this is from the Communist Manifesto of Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels. Abolition of the family. Even the most radical flare up at this infamous proposal of the communists. Oh my God! But this guy was not a communist, isn't what? Skinner was not a communist. He was an atheist, but a communist. Oh my! He wants exactly the same thing as the communists. He wants exactly the same thing as Karl Marx, the socialist. On what foundation is the present family, the bourgeois family, based? On capital. Family is based on capital. Capitalism on private gain. In its completely developed form, this family exists only among the bourgeoisie. So if you have a proper family, you are the enemy. If you have a proper nuclear family unit, father, mother, child, you are the enemy. You're the bourgeoisie. The whole point of the communism of the revolution was to overthrow the bourgeoisie, was to wrest power from them, to destroy them. They must destroy you. Do you understand? Their whole aim is to destroy Western values and families. Your thoughts, Thaddeus, before I go on?
Yeah, I mean, this is a hauntingly familiar attack from just looking at contemporary culture. We're constantly told that if you believe in a traditional family, you are being prejudiced, you are being bigoted, that families come in all shapes and forms and they're all equally valid. You have a family with three moms, that's fine. You have a family with one dad and 26 kids, that's perfectly normal.
Yeah, with 15 different
A
moms. Yeah,
grandpa and
yeah.
children, okay, whatever. They're all equally valid. There's no better form of family. And, or, you can be totally biologically unrelated, and that's still a family. If you live together, you're a family.
Correct. So understand, this is Marxist. Let's have a look here. Marxist says this bourgeois claptrap about the family and education, about the hallowed correlation of parent and child, becomes all the more disgusting the more by the action of modern industry. All family ties among the proletarians are torn apart, their children transformed into articles of commerce and instruments of labor. The bourgeois sees in his wife a mere instrument of production. Marx clearly didn't have a high regard for family values, right? And Mr. Skinner here wants to abolish the family, maybe because he's on board with the whole socialist ethos, right? So, yeah.
Yeah,
Now,
I was just wondering if he was describing the elitist regime of France, or if he was describing Muslim men there.
yeah. Now, no proof, he says, but I'm right anyway. So Skinner opened his best-selling book by evoking fear that humans are on the verge of annihilating themselves through bad behavior, bad person, rapid population growth, nuclear weapons, and rampant pollution. But he admitted that his ideas were not scientifically proven. He admitted he couldn't prove them. He could not prove his ideas, but he's right anyway, and we need to enforce them because it is in the nature of scientific inquiry that the evidence should shift in favor of the second. So because I think I will be proven right in the future, you know what? We're going to do my thing now. Can't prove it, but shut up. We're going to do it anyway. So,
Yeah, you
atheist.
got to go. You got to be rational and go where the evidence leads. Unless it doesn't lead to where you want, then you got to assume that the evidence will later be in your favor.
Yes, that's completely rational. He's got no proof, but atheism is built on evidence, right? Clearly he was a bad atheist. He wasn't a real Muslim. right? Because he didn't accept, because atheism, now notice, now secular ideologies, you must understand, secular ideologies kill. This is now the claim religion causes war. We're going to look at the source of that as well. We're going to get into all of that. But of course, we saw Voltaire, right? These are 1,763 wars by cause from 8,000 BC to 2000 AD. This is 10,000 years of warfare. Now, you'll notice here that all religious wars by all other religions except for Islam count for 3.8%. So all religions except Islam are 3.8% of all known wars. Now, for instance, within this book, this encyclopedia, which is some of the very best scholarship available, like historians and scholarship on the topic. This is 3 volumes, I believe. I have a set. You guys can get it from my archive. Links in the description, my full archive. I think there's one instance of the Peloponnesian Wars, which I think happened over 250 years. So there were hundreds of battles, hundreds of wars. Now, they decided to make that just one war. Now, if they'd made it into dozens and dozens and dozens, these statistics would shift even better in the favor of religion. Okay. Now, Islam is responsible for 3.2% of all wars on its own. All other religions are 3.8. Islam classifies itself as a political system. Don't forget, it's a deen. Deen is a political system. Like Nazism, like communism, like fascism, it is a political system. So it's a political religion. And then government secular wars, 93% of all wars are. It's Rick Soldier of God. That slide is on my community tab. You can download it. The image is on my community tab. So just go and grab it off the community tab with the browser. So 93% of all wars are government secular. Now, of course, one atheist came up and said, it's not possible to tell the difference between government and secular activities. It's just not possible. It just can't be done. So, Thaddeus, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we get this charge constantly. I mean, you hear lots of atheists. I'm not going to say every single atheist, but a lot of atheists firmly believe that religion is the main cause of war in the world, which just on the surface seems ridiculous, because war is usually about territory. It's usually about who gets to be the leader of the country, one of those two things. And neither of those things have anything to do with religion. So it should just be common sense that religion is rarely the cause of war. But that's not what the atheists tell us. They tell us that if there was no religion in the world, there wouldn't be no wars.
Well, yeah, we need to look into that. But the evidence is in, guys.